Today is the Paycheck Fairness. Paycheck Fairness. That's not the name of the day. Equal Pay Day. It's, here we go. Equal Pay Day. It's over on my show notes. It's Equal Pay Day, and Equal Pay Day as in equal pay for women and for men. And so let's check in with Romina Boccia. Do I have that right?
Yes. Hi, Tom.
Hey, Romina, how are you?
Excellent. Thank you.
I should say,
on your show.
Thank you for joining us. I should say you are a policy analyst with the Conservative Independent Women's Forum, IWF.org, Twitter @IWF, and Equal Pay Day. When do we get this equal pay so that women don't make 77 cents for every dollar that a man makes?
Well, I don't think that women actually do make only 77 cents to every dollar a man makes, because women don't do the same amount of work that men do or the same kind of work.
Is that because they're lazier?
No, not at all. I don't think so. I think women are very hardworking. They do a lot of unpaid work at home, I think, but...
Shouldn't they be paid for it?
Well, who's going to pay them for it? Maybe their husbands.
Well, most of the Scandinavian countries actually do compensate women for that. For example, if you're a housewife in Sweden, Denmark, Finland, you can actually claim as if it was part of your for your pension, your old age pension. You can claim that child rearing work as work at a salary comparable to a man in the workplace.
Oh, for the pension. Well, that's nice. Otherwise, how are these women going to accumulate enough?
Right. So shouldn't they get Social
pension?
Security, for example? With a very specific dollar amount for the work that they're doing.
Well, if we can put a dollar amount on it, on the one hand, they're doing that work at home. It's a choice they make to raise kids. It's whether you consider that kids are something that society should pay for, or whether it's the individual responsibility of each and every family to do so. But to come back to the equal pay day,
that gets us the question of, do we live in a we society or a me society? Are we a bunch of selfish individuals and to hell with everybody else, or are we all in this together?
Well, I think either one can be true. Whatever, it's up to people's preferences. I think within a family.
How's it possible either one could be true? How's it possible that we could live in a society where anybody in our society can say, to hell with everybody else, I've got mine? Isn't that that sounds sociopathic. That's how societies die. We're a nation of barn builders. We're a nation of community builders. We're not a nation of I'm going to go out and get mine and to hell with everybody else.
We absolutely are. The American people are very, very charitable, and you don't necessarily find that in countries in Europe where the government takes over most of that role. I come from Germany, and I know that American people donate a lot more to charities because they do care and they want to help each other out.
I lived in Germany for a year. That's because in Germany you don't need to beg rich people to get health care. You don't need to beg rich people to get a pension. You don't need to beg rich people to go to college and not end up in debt. You don't need to beg rich people if you're broken out of work in order to get a place to live or have food. The government provides for those things. So yeah, of course, there's less charitable giving. Also, Germany doesn't have anywhere near as many incredibly wealthy people as the United States does, and they don't have, and their tax code isn't as generous with regard to donations.
Well,
but you're trying to compare apples and oranges, and I beg your pardon?
Rich people in Germany declare their primary residence in the United States so that they don't get taxed as heavily in Germany.
Oh, nonsense.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's
nonsense.
Where rich people in Germany go.
Yeah, in the United States, in the low-tax United States. Well, then what we need to do is raise our taxes to Germany. So you're suggesting women they have no beef. There's no complaint.
Well,
suck it up.
Not in general. I do not think that we face systematic discrimination, meaning all women get paid less than men just for the fact that they are women. And we know that that's not true because we look at single young women today, and they make way more than men do in metropolitan areas where they have great opportunities for educated women. And more women today are getting college than men do, so we'll see this trend continue upwards, are making up to 21% more in cities.
No, I agree with you. If you look at a very small slice of women, what is it? The age is like, what, 23 to 27 or something like that?
22 to 30.
Okay. And within urban areas, within particular job categories, yes, they're making more than men. How about this? The Iroquois Confederacy that according to Ben Franklin, we founded our Constitution on, five nations. Franklin famously opened the Constitutional Convention in 1787, with a little speech in which he said it should be, it would be an extraordinary thing if five nations of ignorant savages have been able to forge a bond that has lived in peace for 1,000 years, and 13 colonies of educated Englishmen could not do the same. The Iroquois did not allow men to vote. Only women could vote. And the reason why was because their constitution required that every decision made had to have as its core statement what its impact would be on the seventh generation, and that women don't start wars, women don't commit violent crimes. Frankly, I think that we should mandate 50% of women in all government supervisory jobs, 50% women in all corporate supervisory jobs, all boardrooms, all CEOs. Men have screwed it up so badly from the Great Depression, all these wars. The last century, we killed 150 million people in the world, and every single one of those wars, with the single exception of the Falklands and Maggie Thatcher, was declared by a man. From Reagan Star Wars and more wars, frankly, I don't think that men should be allowed to vote for a decade. We should just turn it all over to women for 10 years and let's see what happens.
Well, so what do you want me to say? I'm a woman. I'm certainly very much opposed to quotas, but I'm not
talking about quotas. I'm talking about saying, guys, men, you screwed it up. We're going to turn it over to the women. They don't, women, as you know, Romania, men are overrepresented in prison for violent crimes. Men are the guys who are the people who declare wars and by and large fight the wars. They're the warriors. Let's take out of their hands the power to make decisions that lead to more violence.
Well, I don't know that that's a either feasible or desirable solution that demand that 50% of all jobs in either government or the private sector or supervisory jobs have to be filled with women. I think if we're going to get there, we're going to get there by natural means. I think a big reason why a lot of women don't want the corner office is that they have other priorities, including raising children.
No, I understand that, and men do too. I mean, I took a couple of years off work. Louise ran our business, and I raised our kids. I mean, we took turns, actually. But my point, actually, as I'm sure you know, if you're from Germany, Norway mandated that 40% of their parliament had to be women. Boom. 40% of their parliament is women. Iceland, I think it's 50% in Iceland. I could be wrong. But Iceland is traditionally a matrilineal, matriarchal society. Why don't we just say, okay, men, you've screwed it up. We're going to turn this thing over to women.
I don't think that quotas are a good idea, and I don't think that they have worked. I'm
not talking about quotas. I'm talking about a ban. I'm sorry, men, you cannot vote. You show up at the polls, you get kicked out.
Aren't you discriminating against men now?
Absolutely.
That's the way to go.
Absolutely, because men are responsible for 150 million deaths in the last century. Yes.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Tom. I'm not going to sign on to your society. That's as much as I can tell you.
I haven't succeeded in making your head explode.
No, I'm not. I'm just I don't want to discriminate either way.
I am actually,
person.
For a long time I've said that I don't think men should be allowed to vote on issues that have to do with, for example, abortion. I think it should be simply women. But, if I was Trump, I would say, men, you're fired. Let's let the women take over. Anyhow, Romina Boccia?
That's right.
Thank you so much for being a policy analyst with the Independent Women's Forum, IWF.org, Twitter at IWF. Great talking with you today. Thanks for dropping by.
Thanks, Tom. Have me on soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.